Walking towards the first enemy. No, wait, I mean jumping. Since that is what today's challenge is all about. Today, I won't be taking any arrows to the knee, because my knees will be impossible to hit with the swiftness of my constant jumps. But before I can fully become a kangaroo, we must first lay out some rules. Number 1. I can only move by jumping. Number 2. No rolling, but I am allowed to roll out of staggers. 3. Constantly jumping is not easy to control, so tiny bits of accidental movement are fine. 4. Sometimes my stamina runs out without me noticing, resulting in a little bit of movement without a jump. Like rule number 3, this is acceptable. 5. I can walk while healing. This is not a Dark Souls simulator. Enemies are too fast for me to just be standing still. 6. No spirit ashes. The fact that I'm not allowed to move without jumping is the real difficulty here. Sure, you can beat bosses with only jump attacks, although in this challenge I am allowed to attack normally, but there is no way for me to safely run away from the bosses without jumping. Let's test how this all works on the first enemy we encounter. Surprisingly, I avoid some attacks and get a few hits in, but I don't last very long. Though maybe this challenge won't be as bad as I initially thought. I open the door to a stunning view and make my way to the first site of grace. There is an onlooker staring at me as if I was some kind of a maniac that doesn't know how to walk properly. I don't let his judgmental look scare me and hop towards him.
Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless.
He is very judgmental, isn't he? With the quest giver essentially telling us to fuck off until we find a maiden, the next best logical thing to do is to take out our anger on the not at all intimidating guy on a horse. My bad, I'm just jumping wrong. Let me try again. Okay, so maybe this challenge will actually be way harder than I thought. At least for now, this isn't a roadblock. I can just jump right ahead to the church. It's finally time to actually fight something. I present to you my first lab rat, a basic soldier. I'm not sure what to expect. This could be the fight of the century. Will my frog-like qualities be enough to defeat this foe? Well, that was anticlimactic. Turns out basic enemies will probably not cause too many issues. Clearly, this means I'm ready to take on a boss. This might normally be the easiest boss fight in the game, but with my reverse handicap, it will probably be the most epic fight that you will see in this video. The Beastman of Faramazula is so crazy that he's apparently immune to madness. And what is a jump-only challenge? Pure madness. But the Beastman knows something about madness that we don't. Could it be that he gained too much insight? Probably better not to dwell on his past. After all, soon the only thing that will remain of him is a memory. A memory of how I beat him at his own craft. Madness. What we've got here is one insane person fighting another. Really, a poetic duel. Now enough of that. I've got runes without the knowledge of how to use them. Time to fix that. I trampoline my way to where I see some golden light. And behold, not only do I have a maiden now, I have a horse. Imagine giving away your animal to some random you just met. You're a terrible owner, Melina. Now his life will be nothing but constant jumping. And we'll take this to the test by seeing if Torrent is a good enough athlete to get us through the part that he's normally supposed to sprint through. There aren't really any issues here. Just gotta take a second to wait for some stamina to come back before continuing. I get off Torrent to grab a golden seed. Notice some soldiers trying to sneak up behind me. Attempt to call Torrent back, but end up accidentally drinking a flask since I'm too used to the PS5 controls, which makes me instinctively press the wrong button. I manage to get out of the sticky situation and start planning my revenge. I will show the soldiers some real sneaking. I will secretly get into their camp and steal their map. Unlike them, I can remain unseen even while I'm jumping. With their map in my possession now, I chuckle at the chaos that is about to ensue when they realize it's gone. Without the grace to guide them like it does for me, they will forever be lost, stuck in this little pathetic camp. Another early game boss that I want to try fighting is Bloodhound Knight Darrell, since this one is not just a pushover like the Beastman. What I didn't consider though, is that he was gonna be an actual problem. I entered the Everjail multiple times, only to die over and over. Some may say that jumping isn't a viable gaming technique, to which I say, yeah, you're probably right. But that won't stop me, as I have one more trick up my sleeve. Blythe. For some reason, my dumbass thought that this was the scary forest and that Blythe was gonna be in these ruins, even though I've literally replayed Elden Ring before Shadow of the Erdtree came out, which wasn't even that long ago. It's been a while jumping around this area before I realized how stupid I've been. I guess since we're already here, watch this crazy gravity-defying leap. I believe I can fly.
Coming in hot!
I found a cozy hut at the edge of Mistwood. Or at least it would be cozy if it wasn't derelict. This would be a nice place to live. Bernthal seems to share the same mindset as he's already hanging out around here. All that's missing is some Estus soup, and then this place will be perfect. I could get a rest from jumping and live a peaceful life if I rebuilt the house. But Judy calls. I am bound to be jumping forever.
This way, Tarnished.
No, I just want to chat with Kale. Oh, I see how it is. She's just holding me hostage. Alright, I'll talk to you. No offense, Ronnie, but if those spirit ashes don't jump, then I don't want them. With the ability to snap my fingers now in the palm of my hands, we can finally fetch Blythe to help us. The thing is, Blythe makes this fight an actual cakewalk. I was under the assumption that NPCs increase the boss's health by a decent amount, but apparently this doesn't apply here since Blythe is summoned inside the arena, not before. I'm also just more used to Bloodborne NPCs who are usually useless and make the fight harder rather than easier. I beat Darrell, but feel little accomplishment, so I hop away from this place, hoping to forget. I meet yet another person in Limgrave. Well, this one tells me not to go into the nearby village since there's some weird stuff going on in there. If you ask me, that sounds like the excuse of someone that's a bit of a coward. In any case, if someone tells me not to go somewhere, I will obviously immediately go there. At first glance, it looks like there's just an old fisherman chilling in his boat. But as I get closer, I realize that... Wait, where'd he go? Am I hallucinating? Oh no, I should have listened and not come here. I'm the only fish in this sea, and the old fisherman has his fishing rod at the ready. Ready to reel me in as I've fallen for his bait. Who would have guessed he's a master at baiting? Yeah, anyway. I beat that guy up as if I was the iceberg to his Titanic, with jumping not really posing much of an issue. After that, I returned to the man that tried to warn me earlier, just so I can make fun of him for not being able to deal with this himself. Sometimes you have to take a second to admire how beautiful the gates to hell are before you enter it. You know, perhaps the solution is to just not enter it. I continue jumping around, both mine and Torrent's legs now made of steel.
Hello? Is anybody there?
I'm not gonna lie, that goes hard. Finally, I deem my jumping practice as complete, and find myself standing face to face with the biggest test of strength yet.
That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
I jump, he throws glowing daggers. Simple. Oh wait, he can jump too. At one point, I thought I saw fear in Margit's eyes. Turns out, it was just my reflection. I try over and over, jumping to the sides, jumping backwards, jumping while attacking, jumping like my life depends on it. Because it does. Nothing seems to be working. There are some attacks that no matter how I jump, I just cannot avoid. Here we are, staring at the one who is about to shatter everything we've built. Yes, I know he's an optional boss, but if I can't beat him, I don't think I'm capable of beating any of the mandatory bosses anyway. This is painful defeat. And so, I walk away. Not because of shame, but because my thumb refuses to press the jump button ever again. Not all who jump are meant to do so. Unfortunately, I was not goated enough for this challenge because unlike the goats, I refused to roll. Honestly, an intelligence build might be doable with this challenge, since you don't have to get too close to anything you're fighting, and the biggest problem with jumping is that some attacks are just undodgeable like that. Well, I've never played a magic character in any of the Soulsborne games, so at the time, this was not something that crossed my mind. Of course, I could have gone and overleveled my character so that Margit would be beatable, but I just don't think that that's fun. If I allowed myself the use of Spirit Ashes, together with the NPC summon, they would probably destroy Margit without me having to do much, which also wouldn't be very fun for anyone, I think. So I accept this challenge as officially failed, and here's hoping that the next one will be a success. Like and subscribe if you want to see more challenges, and feel free to leave any preferably doable ideas in the comments.